The massive Imperial ship appeared above Earth without warning. It emerged from hyperspace like a dark storm cloud, stretching 20 kilometers from end to end. Smaller ships followed behind it, each one larger than the biggest human spacecraft ever built. The fleet blocked out the sun over North America, casting shadows across cities from New York to Los Angeles. For 3 days they waited. No messages, no demands, just silence. On the 4th day, every screen on Earth lit up with the same image. A tall, purple-skinned alien with 4 arms and eyes that glowed like molten gold. High Commander Zexterra of the hegemonic Empire of the Thousand Suns looked down at humanity with what seemed to be boredom. "Your species has been chosen to join the Empire," Zexterra announced in perfect English. "Surrender your weapons. Accept our rule. Receive our gifts of advanced technology and protection. This is a great honor. You have 6 Earth hours to respond." In the United Nations emergency meeting, representatives from every country gathered to discuss the ultimatum. The Chinese delegate spoke first. "They expect us to just give up, without a fight. Look at the size of their ships," someone else argued. "We don't stand a chance." But as videos spread across the internet showing the Imperial ships, humanity's reaction wasn't fear. It was anger. Rage filled social media. People took to the streets, not to panic, but to protest. Signs appeared everywhere with the same message in different languages. "We will not kneel." 5 hours later, the UN delivered humanity's response. It was short and clear. Earth belongs to humanity. Leave our solar system or face the consequences. In his command ship, Zexterra stared at the message in disbelief. In 3,000 years of Imperial expansion, no species had ever refused the Empire's generous offer. His second-in-command, a reptilian alien named Kress, checked the message again. "Perhaps there is a translation error," Kress suggested. "No," Zexterra said. "They understand perfectly. They simply refuse to accept reality. Begin the demonstration attack. Target their largest military bases. Show them the price of defiance." The Imperial fleet launched its first wave. 10,000 automated fighter craft, each armed with weapons that could level a city. They streaked through Earth's atmosphere, expecting no real resistance from such a primitive species. They were wrong. Humanity had been preparing for war since the ships appeared. Every nuclear missile on Earth had been aimed skyward. Experimental electromagnetic pulse weapons, kept secret by various governments, were ready. When the Imperial fighters came within range, humanity didn't wait. The sky erupted with nuclear fire. EMP bursts filled the air. Imperial fighters began dropping from the sky as their advanced systems overloaded. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons and kinetic impacts, had never been tested against the raw power of nuclear detonations. In his command ship, Zexterra watched in shock as half his fighter force was destroyed in less than 10 minutes. The humans were using weapons so primitive that the Empire had forgotten how to defend against them. "Impossible," Kress whispered. "They're savages. They shouldn't be able to." "No," Zexterra interrupted, his golden eyes narrowing as he studied the battle data. "Not savages. Warriors, and we just gave them a reason to fight." He turned to his command staff. "Recall the fighters. We need to rethink our approach. These humans," he paused, feeling something he hadn't felt in centuries. Doubt. "These humans are different from the others." On Earth, celebrations erupted as people watched Imperial fighters fall from the sky, but military leaders and scientists weren't celebrating. They knew this was just the beginning. The Empire would be back, and next time they wouldn't underestimate humanity. The war for Earth's freedom had begun. Dr. Sarah Chen hadn't slept in 3 days. Empty coffee cups littered her desk at the underground research facility in Nevada. She stared at the holographic display showing an Imperial fighter's shield analysis, something bothering her about the data. Something important. "Dr. Chen," her assistant called from the doorway. "The military wants an update. They need to know if we found any weaknesses in the Imperial shields." Sarah waved him away, her eyes fixed on the numbers. The Imperial shields were perfect. They could stop lasers, plasma, kinetic impacts, and even gravity weapons. But something about their reaction to nuclear weapons. Her eyes widened. Get me General Williams. Now. Across the world, other scientists were making similar discoveries. The Empire's technology was advanced. Too advanced. They had forgotten about older, simpler weapons. Their shields were designed to stop everything except what they considered primitive and harmless. In his flagship above Earth, High Commander Zex Terra received disturbing reports. His intelligence officers had been studying human history, and what they found worried them. High Commander, Kress said, placing a datapad on Zex Terra's desk. These humans, they're different from other species we've conquered. They've spent their entire history fighting each other. Zex Terra picked up the pad, reading about Earth's wars. How many conflicts in their recorded history? Over 15,000 wars, sir. They've developed warfare into an art form. While other species focused on peace and cooperation, humans perfected the science of combat. In the Nevada facility, Sarah explained her discovery to military leaders from around the world. The Imperial shields work by predicting and countering energy patterns. But nuclear weapons, they're too chaotic, too primitive for the shields to properly analyze. It's like trying to use advanced math to stop a caveman's club. Can we use this? General Williams asked. Sarah smiled. Better. We can modify our nuclear weapons to be even more unpredictable. Their shields won't just fail, they'll collapse completely. The Empire prepared for their second attack. This time, they would send their main fleet, 100 capital ships, each carrying enough firepower to glass a continent. Zex Terra felt confident. No primitive species could stand against such power. But as he studied more reports about human history, doubt crept in. These humans had survived ice ages, plagues, and their own destructive wars. They had split the atom, reached their moon, and created artificial intelligence, all while constantly fighting among themselves. Sir, Kress interrupted his thoughts. We've detected unusual activity on Earth. They're moving something through their atmosphere. Multiple objects, too small for our scanners to identify. Zex Terra felt a chill. In 3,000 years of Imperial conquest, he had learned to trust his instincts. Delay the attack, he ordered. Something isn't right. But it was too late. Sarah's modified nuclear weapons were already in position, hidden in old satellites and space debris. She named the operation Hidden Blade, after an ancient assassination technique. As the Imperial fleet moved into attack formation, Sarah watched from her underground command center. The Empire thought their shields made them invincible. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't advanced technology. It was their ability to turn anything, even their own primitive weapons, into a tool of victory. They want to see humanity kneel, she said quietly, her finger hovering over the launch button. Let's show them why we never will. The battle for Earth's survival was about to enter its second phase, and this time, humanity had a plan. Captain James Martinez sat in the darkness of his stealth ship, the Shadow Runner, waiting at the edge of the asteroid belt. His crew of 30 was completely silent. They had trained for this moment for 2 weeks straight. Everything depended on perfect timing. Enemy supply ships approaching, his radar officer whispered. 5 minutes until they reach our position. The Imperial supply fleet moved slowly through space, their massive cargo ships protected by only 4 warships. They never expected an attack this far from Earth. No other species had ever dared to strike beyond their own planet. But humans were different. All ships, check in, James said quietly into his radio. 5 other stealth ships responded, hidden among the asteroids. Each one carried Dr. Chen's modified nuclear weapons. The Imperial ships grew larger on their screens. James could see their purple-tinted shields glowing faintly. Those same shields that had made the Empire unstoppable for 3,000 years were about to become their weakness. 3 minutes, the radar officer counted down. On the Imperial command ship, High Commander Zexterra was reviewing battle plans when the alert came through. "Sir, we've lost contact with the supply fleet near the asteroid belt." Zexterra rushed to the command center. "Show me." The screens came to life, showing the supply route. But where the supply fleet should have been, there was only empty space and debris. "How?" Zexterra demanded. "How do they disappear without sending any distress signal?" The answer came moments later as multiple nuclear explosions lit up space near the asteroid belt. The modified weapons had worked perfectly. The Imperial ship's shields hadn't just failed. They had collapsed inward, crushing the ships they were meant to protect. "Impossible," Kress whispered. "No primitive species should be able to." "Stop calling them primitive," Zexterra shouted, slamming his 4 hands on the command table. "These humans, they're using our own advanced technology against us. They found a weakness we never knew existed." On the Shadowrunner, James watched the Imperial ships break apart. Phase 1 complete, he reported back to Earth Command. Moving to Phase 2. His fleet of stealth ships emerged from hiding, approaching the burning wreckage. They had 15 minutes to salvage what they could from the Imperial cargo ships before reinforcements arrived. "Sir," his engineering chief called out, "you need to see what we found in these cargo holds." The Imperial supply ships have been carrying something unexpected. Weapons, not just any weapons, but planet killers. Bombs capable of destroying entire worlds. They were never going to let us survive, James realized. Even if we had surrendered, they planned to destroy Earth. He sent images back to Earth Command. Within an hour, the news spread worldwide. The Empire's true plans were revealed, and any doubts about humanity's resistance disappeared. The Empire hadn't come to uplift humanity. They had come to eliminate a potential threat. "Return to base," Earth Command ordered. "The Empire will retaliate soon." As the stealth ships vanished back toward Earth, James looked at the debris field they had created. 6 ships. His small fleet had destroyed 6 Imperial ships using weapons the Empire considered primitive. "Send a message to Command," he told his communications officer. "Tell them Project Hidden Blade was a complete success. And tell Dr. Chen, tell her she was right. Their greatest strength is their greatest weakness." The Empire had ruled through fear for 3,000 years, but they were about to learn that threatening humanity with extinction was the worst mistake they could have made. Admiral Helen Wong stood before the holographic display of the solar system, watching as thousands of red dots representing Imperial ships moved closer to Earth. Around her, in the underground command center beneath Singapore, military leaders from every major nation waited for her plan. "Let them think we're weak," she said, moving holographic pieces across the display. "Pull our forces back. Show fear. The Empire expects us to break." Young Imperial officer Thor watched from his post on the bridge of a battle cruiser as the human forces retreated. Something felt wrong. He had studied the reports of their previous battles. These humans never retreated before. "Sir," he reported to his commander, "I believe this may be a trap." His commander laughed. "These primitives are finally learning their place. Push forward. Show no mercy." The Imperial fleet advanced deeper into the solar system. They passed Mars, destroying the small human outposts there. They bombed the lunar bases, meeting only weak resistance. Everything suggested humanity was finally breaking. In her command center, Admiral Wong smiled. The Empire was following her plan perfectly. "Status report," she commanded. "All pieces in position," her assistant reported. "Captain Martinez's stealth fleet is hidden behind Venus. Dr. Chen's modified nuclear weapons are planted throughout the asteroid belt. The trap is ready." Thor couldn't shake his feeling of dread. He had accessed historical records about human warfare. Throughout their history, humans had used deception masterfully. The famous Earth General Sun Tzu had written, "Appear weak when you are strong." "Commander," he tried again, The humans are leading us into a prepared position. We should. Silence, his commander shouted. You've spent too much time studying these primitives. They're nothing compared to the Empire's might. High Commander Zexterra, watching from his flagship, shared Cthor's concerns. But pressure from Imperial High Command forced his hand. The Empire had never lost a war in 3,000 years. They wouldn't start now. All ships advance, he ordered reluctantly. Prepare for final assault on Earth. Admiral Wong watched as the Imperial fleet moved exactly where she wanted them. They had studied the Empire's tactics for weeks. Like all empires built on overwhelming power, they couldn't resist a killing blow against a weakened enemy. They're in position, her tactical officer reported. Awaiting your command. Wong looked at the display one last time. The Empire's fleet had spread out, positioning themselves for a final attack on Earth. They had no idea they were now surrounded. Send the signal, she ordered. Let's show them humanity's true strength. Thor saw it first, a pattern in the asteroid field that hadn't been there before. His eyes widened as he realized the truth. It's a trap, he shouted. The asteroids. There. The space around the Imperial fleet erupted with hidden weapons. Nuclear explosions chained from asteroid to asteroid, creating a web of destruction. Captain Martinez's stealth fleet emerged from behind Venus, launching their own strikes. The Empire's mighty fleet found itself caught in humanity's deadliest trap. They had expected a broken enemy's last stand. Instead, they had walked into a carefully planned ambush. Send a message to Earth Command, Admiral Wong ordered as she watched the Imperial fleet's formation shatter. Tell them Operation Broken Crown is a success. Phase 1 complete. And in the chaos of battle, Thor made a decision that would change his life forever. He began copying every piece of Imperial data he could access. The humans had proven themselves worthy of respect, and perhaps worthy of his loyalty. Lisa Chen was 17 years old and had spent most of her life breaking into video games for fun. Now, sitting in a secret facility beneath Tokyo, she led a team of 30 teenage hackers from around the world. Their mission: break into the most advanced computer network in the galaxy. Their code is beautiful, she said, studying the Imperial BattleNet on her screens. But it's too perfect, too clean. She smiled as she typed, her fingers flying across 3 keyboards. They never had to deal with cheaters and trolls. The Imperial tech priests were considered the best programmers in the galaxy. They looked down on Earth's primitive digital systems, but they had never faced anything like Earth's video game hackers. Teenagers who broke into games just to prove they could. Found it, shouted Ming, a 16-year-old from Singapore. They're using quantum encryption, but it's like they never expected anyone to try something this stupid. Lisa looked at his screen. The Imperial network was designed to stop advanced AI and quantum computers, but they had never faced old-school hacking techniques that Earth's teenagers had perfected over decades of breaking into games. On his flagship, High Commander Zexterra was getting worried reports. Something was happening to their BattleNet. Strange codes were appearing, then disappearing. Warning systems would flash, then go quiet. It's impossible, the chief tech priest insisted. Their primitive systems can't possibly affect our network. These are probably just glitches from battle damage. But Cthor, watching from his new position in the communication center, knew better. He had studied Earth's history of cyber warfare. Sir, he reported to Zexterra, I believe they're using their old programming methods. Techniques so primitive our defenses don't recognize them as threats. In Tokyo, Lisa's team had found their way in. They weren't trying to break the Imperial encryption. They were going around it, using tricks they had learned from years of gaming. It's like they built this perfect castle, Lisa explained to the military observers, with quantum walls and AI guards. But they never thought someone would just dig a tunnel underneath. She pressed enter on her final command. Time to show them how we play on Earth. The virus they released was unlike anything the Empire had seen. It didn't try to break their advanced security. It simply ignored it. Built from old Earth programming languages, it was too primitive for Imperial systems to detect or stop. Across the Imperial fleet, chaos erupted. Ship navigation systems started playing old Earth video games. Communication channels filled with cat videos. Weapon targeting computers began displaying pizza delivery advertisements. What is happening? Zexterra demanded as his command screen showed nothing but something called Nyan Cat on endless loop. The chief tech priest was panicking. It's impossible. Their coding methods, they're completely illogical. They're using techniques that were outdated before their species even reached space. In Tokyo, Lisa and her team celebrated as reports came in. The Imperial BattleNet was collapsing. Their perfect advanced network was being destroyed by what they considered children's toys. Send a message to Admiral Wong, Lisa said, leaning back in her chair with a satisfied smile. Tell her Operation Digital Storm is complete. The Empire's network is down. She looked at her team of teenage hackers, all of them grinning with pride. And tell her the gaming community says GGEZ. The Empire had learned another harsh lesson. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't just their weapons or strategy. It was their ability to turn even their pastimes into weapons of war. Dr. Sarah Chen hadn't slept in 36 hours, but she couldn't stop now. Not when they were so close. On her lab screens, the final calculations for Operation Firebreak were almost complete. With the Imperial BattleNet down thanks to Lisa's team of hackers, this was their chance to end the war. All shield frequencies mapped, her computer announced. Weakness pattern identified. Sarah grabbed her phone and called Admiral Wong. It's ready. We can trigger a chain reaction in their quantum shields. But we'll only get one shot at this. In the command center, Admiral Wong gathered Earth's military leaders. Captain Martinez's stealth fleet was in position. The teenage hackers had the Imperial network scrambled. Everything was ready. The Empire thinks they're regrouping, Wong explained, pointing to the tactical display. But with their BattleNet down, each ship's shields are operating independently. That's their weakness. On his flagship, High Commander Zexterra was facing a crisis. Without the BattleNet, his fleet was fighting blind. Half his ships couldn't even communicate with each other. The humans had turned his mighty armada into a confused mess. Status report, he demanded. Thor, who had been secretly monitoring Imperial communications, spoke up. Sir, our ships are trying to restore their shield synchronization, but without the BattleNet. He left the rest unsayed. Zexterra felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Fear. These humans had done the impossible. They had found weaknesses no one knew existed. They had turned the Empire's greatest strengths into fatal flaws. All ships, fall back, he ordered. We need tow. But it was too late. Operation Firebreak is go, Admiral Wong announced. Around Earth, hidden transmitters activated, sending carefully calculated frequencies into space. Dr. Chen's discovery was about to change everything. The first Imperial ship shields flickered and died. Then another, and another. Like dominoes falling, the quantum shields began to fail across the entire fleet. The chain reaction was unstoppable. Impossible. The Imperial shield masters cried. Our shields are perfect. They cannot fail. But they were wrong. Dr. Chen had discovered that quantum shields, like everything else, had a natural frequency, and when that frequency was disrupted in just the right way. All ships, open fire, Admiral Wong commanded. Every human weapon, from orbital platforms to ground-based lasers, fired at once. The Imperial ships, their perfect shields now useless, had no defense. The space around Earth lit up with explosions. Imperial ships, suddenly vulnerable, began breaking apart under humanity's assault. 3,000 years of Imperial superiority ended in minutes. Status report, Wong demanded. 80% of Imperial fleet destroyed or disabled. Her tactical officer reported. The rest are retreating. They're running. In his command center, Zexterra watched in horror as his mighty fleet fell apart. These humans hadn't just defeated them. They had shattered the myth of Imperial invincibility. "Send the signal," he ordered quietly. "All remaining ships, retreat to the rally point. The Empire must know what happened here." As the surviving Imperial ships fled, cheers erupted in command centers across Earth. But Admiral Wong, Dr. Chen, and the other leaders knew this wasn't over. They had won the battle for Earth, but the Empire still controlled 1,000 worlds. "Send a message to all commands," Wong ordered. "Tell them Operation Firebreak was a success. And tell them," she smiled grimly, "tell them to prepare for Phase 2. It's time to take the fight to the Empire." High Commander Zexterra stood on his command bridge, watching Earth grow larger on his view screen. His remaining ships, barely 30 of the original 1,000, formed up behind him. After retreating to gather reinforcements, he had returned for one final assault. "If we die today," he announced to his fleet, "we take their world with us." But Earth was waiting. This time, they were ready. In the underground command center, Admiral Wong studied the tactical display with Dr. Chen and Captain Martinez at her side. Lisa Chen and her teenage hackers worked at nearby terminals, their fingers flying over keyboards. "They're desperate now," Martinez observed. "They'll throw everything they have at us." Wong nodded. "Let them come. Humanity's fought desperate enemies before." The Imperial ships accelerated toward Earth, their weapons charged to maximum power. Zexterra had disabled all safety systems. They would fire until their ships exploded. "For the Empire," he commanded, "show these humans the price of defiance." The space around Earth lit up with weapons fire. Imperial energy beams carved through the void, powerful enough to crack continents. But something was wrong. Their shots weren't hitting anything important. Multiple holographic projections detected. Cathor reported from his new position in Earth's Defense Command. He had defected just days before, bringing crucial Imperial codes with him. "The humans are using our own sensor data against us." Lisa's team had done more than crash the Imperial BattleNet. They had reprogrammed it. Now every Imperial targeting system showed Earth's defenses exactly where they weren't. "All units, execute Operation Starcross," Wong commanded. Human ships appeared from behind the moon, from Earth's shadow, from hidden positions in the asteroid belt. Dr. Chen's shield-breaking technology combined with Martinez's stealth tactics. The Empire's desperate final attack turned into a slaughter. "We were wrong about them," Zexterra realized as his fleet died around him. "We were so wrong." His final transmission reached the Empire's capital, light years away. Humanity doesn't just fight. They evolve. They turn defeat into weapons. They turn their primitive nature into strength. The Empire has ruled 1,000 suns for 3,000 years, but we never faced anything like them. The battle ended in less than an hour. Earth's sky filled with the burning remains of Imperial ships. Humanity had won. But in the command center, the leaders weren't celebrating yet. "The Empire still controls most of the galaxy," Dr. Chen reminded them. "And now they fear us." "Good," Admiral Wong said. "Fear makes empires stupid, makes them weak." She pointed to the star map showing Imperial space. "And we're not done fighting." Cathor stepped forward. "The outer colonies are already talking about Earth's victory. 3,000 years of Imperial rule, and humanity broke them in less than a month. My people, many of us want change." "Then let's give them change," Martinez said. "We have their technology now, their codes, their weaknesses. More than that," Lisa added, looking up from her computer. "We have their communication networks. We can spread the word about what happened here." Admiral Wong smiled. "The Empire forced this war on us. Now we'll show them why that was a mistake." She turned to her staff. "Prepare the fleet. Plot courses to the nearest Imperial colonies." Her eyes hardened. Earth won't be free until all worlds are free. As humanity prepared to take the fight to the stars, Thor watched Earth's ships preparing for launch. He remembered an old imperial saying, "The stars are eternal, but empires burn." He smiled. The Empire's stars were about to turn to ash, one system at a time, and humanity would light the fire.